Let's be clear, SaaS as we know it is about to change forever, and most founders genuinely have no idea. I currently run my own B2B SaaS platform called SuperDemo, which is an AI startup with over 200,000 users. So I've been right in the thick of this traditional SaaS to AI shift. So today, I wanted to share my thoughts and go over some pretty shocking things that I'm seeing in this transition that I think will be shaping the future of SaaS. Because I think the founders who are early on this will be able to take advantage of that shift and make an absolute fortune. The first big change is that you can't really win in software anymore by having more features than your competitors. For pretty much the last decade, the way you competed was being the SaaS with the most features in your category. But unfortunately, that doesn't work anymore because anyone with a capable developer and a few AI tools like Claude can clone 80% of your product in just a matter of days. What actually decides which SaaS companies grow now is staying top of mind, meaning being the first few names a buyer thinks of when they think of your category. If you've been in the fintech world in the past few years, you've probably heard of Ramp, Mercury, or Row, which are three of the biggest spend management platforms out there. What stands out about them is that they're literally everywhere their customers are looking. Whether this is at in-person events, all over LinkedIn, inside of your inbox of every single founder out there, or within a perks library. So, when someone thinks about getting a corporate card or managing company spend or setting up a startup-oriented bank, Ramp, Row, Mercury are some of the first names that come to mind. And that's actually what's driving their growth more than any feature that they've shipped in the last little while. Now, the way you build into that position is focusing on distribution, meaning, sure, your SaaS is in front of buyers everywhere that they spend their time. And you're probably asking, what's the best way to do this? For us specifically at SuperDemo, this means we run AEO, we build in public on LinkedIn, we make YouTube videos just like this, we have a generous free plan for recording demos and videos, and we ship product updates quickly and publicly. Because by the time a potential buyer actually needs what you sell, they've already heard of you 2, 3, 4, 5 different times, which makes you way more likely to be picked over your competition. The second major change is that buyers don't want to jump through hoops like filling out forms or going through 1 to 2 discovery calls just to see your product in action or get answers to the qualification questions that they need. Buyers want immediate answers. They want to receive curated recommendations based on their specific context, and they just want to try the product before having to talk to a person. The old way of selling SaaS used to be simple and contrary to this, where a buyer would land on your website, fill out a request to demo form. If they even received a response in the first place, they would get piped into a 15-minute qualification call, then a 30-minute discovery call, and then maybe a demo a week later. But that whole process is dead now because today's buyer expects to be able to use the product, see how it works, and qualify themselves before a single rep is involved. So if you put all of that friction in front of buyers just to see how your product works, they'll just go back and try out a different competitor instead. On top of this, AI agents are now part of the buying process too. So your product needs to be discoverable and useful to both humans and agents. We've seen this firsthand at SuperDemo, where we just launched our own AI demo agent that runs discovery, qualification, and demos for you 24/7, just like your best AE or your solutions engineer. And the bigger picture here is that with AI accelerating everything, your product experience now has to be exceptional, because if it's not, buyers can just have AI rebuild everything that you've done for much faster. So that means doing the little things like making MCP connectors available, making your platform interoperable with agents and AI tools buyers already use, and giving so much value that it doesn't even cross their mind to vibe code their own version of what you're building. So by implementing all of this, by the time somebody books a call with your team, they're not just asking about what the product does anymore, they already know and they're a lot more likely to buy. If 2 SaaS companies have similar products and one makes you book multiple calls just to see the thing in action, while the other one gets you to experience the product through an interactive demo or a finely tuned AI demo agent, the second one is going to win almost every single time. By the way, this is exactly why I built SuperDemo. It lets you create interactive demos as well as AI demo agents that qualify for you and educate your buyers 24/7. If you want to try it for free, just click the first link in the description. Now back to the video. The third change happening in the market is that SaaS companies winning long-term right now are the ones that become part of how their customers actually work, not the ones playing pricing games or shipping more features. The old way of thinking about retention was often about sticky pricing, long contracts, constant feature releases to keep people subscribed. But the SaaS products that are actually impossible to leave today are the ones that are deeply woven into the habits and the work and the way that companies operate on a day-to-day basis, where removing them would mess up everyone's day-to-day workflow. The first way you do this is by becoming the default tool for how a specific job gets done within your customer's organization. So for example, if you're selling a sales tool, your goal isn't to be just one of 5 platforms a sales team uses as part of their process. It's to be the standard way that sales happen for that entire team. So for Super Demo, that's becoming the standard way that follow-ups are done or leave-behinds are done after a demo. And once you become the default workflow, you start becoming the part of the way the company actually runs. That means hooking into their product release cadence, their documentation workflow, their reporting cycles, or whatever they're already doing every single week or every single quarter in high frequency. And finally, another tactic is to spread within the organization and not sitting with just 1 or 2 users. If your product is built for a singular user, or if only 2 people on a team are using your product, it becomes easy to replace. But if 20 people across sales, marketing, and customer success all rely on your platform, taking it out of the workflow means retraining the entire company, and that change management is extremely expensive. So your goal should be lateral adoption, where the value of your product compounds with every single new user added, and so does the cost of leaving it. And the last part of this is making it ridiculously easy for new users to get to value fast and become a power user. Every single new user that signs up needs to become a power user quickly with very little handholding. Otherwise, they're probably gonna churn before they ever even experience what your product can do. So that means removing as much friction within your onboarding as possible and giving people reasons to keep coming back without you having to email them over and over every single week. The last thing I want to talk about is that the software industry has finally moved past the idea that having a big team and raising a ton of money means you're doing well. And for a long time, most SaaS founders followed the same rubric and path of raising a big round, hiring aggressively, building a sales org, and growing headcount alongside revenue. But the way of doing things in the past just isn't the right strategy anymore. The teams actually winning today are lean, capital efficient, and AI native, meaning they run on small headcount, spend carefully, and use AI to do the work that used to require entire departments. I know this because we crossed mid-7 figures in ARR with a small team of less than 15 people, and we've been super profitable all throughout that process. What I also realized is that having too much money in the bank can actually hurt your company, because this is cash in the bank that removes the pressure that made you resourceful in the first place. You start thinking about hiring for someone for every single new problem that comes up instead of figuring how to solve it and replicate it yourself. So before you hire nowadays, I ask myself, is this person solving a painkiller problem, or are they just a vitamin where they make us look more legit but don't actually drive real long-term growth? If it's the second one, we usually don't make the hire even if we have the money for it. So if you're running a software company today, stay lean as long as possible and treat being smart with money like a real skill. Now, if there's one thing from this video that I'd actually start doing this week, it's letting both humans and AI agents discover, try, and leverage your product on their own before they even have to talk to a rep or book a demo. Because the other changes take time and act on, but this is one you can start implementing right away. So if you want an easy way to do this for your own startup, you can try Super Demo for free by clicking the link in the description. And if you want to learn how I run my startup with automated AI agents across the stack, you can check out this video next.